Okay, there was a major announcement today. The United States Attorney General launching what he called an aggressive, coordinated effort to prosecute banks that are denying loans to minority communities through a practice that we have come to know as redlining.
Today, we are committing ourselves to addressing modern-day redlining by making far more robust use of our fair lending authorities.
That was Attorney General Merrick Garland there, who says enforcement of fair lending laws is critical to get credit flowing to disenfranchised minority neighborhoods, and that when banks deny or avoid making loans, they are violating the law. This announcement, by the way, tracks very closely with the findings of our Banking Below 30 investigation. It's been a whole series. It has developed evidence that some banks in Dallas are drawing service maps that explicitly exclude Black and Hispanic neighborhoods. If you've been watching this show for some time, we've had David Schechter on many times to talk about this. You've been following this, David, with this whole series of reports that have just been fascinating. And I'm curious what you think about this announcement from the AG today, how significant this is.
It's very significant for the United States to essentially, they're saying, an all-of-government approach to take on banks and to use their enforcement abilities to do that. And the thing is that banks operate on a herd mentality. So, and they're judged not just on what they're doing, but what the other banks are doing. So they're judged on their peer relationships to other banks. And so if one bank gets prosecuted, the other banks are paying a lot of attention to that. So you don't have to prosecute every bank that's making decisions like this, but when you start doing some, you end up getting better results.
So when the Attorney General gets involved like this, we know that this is on every bank's radar at this point, but here in Dallas and in Texas, this was probably already on the radars of a lot of these financial institutions just because of the reporting that you've done on this. I want to show just a little excerpt here of some of the reporting that David has done with this so that we can see how redlining works in Dallas and how banks have been able to avoid making loans south of Interstate 30, where the population is 80% minority.
Here are some examples of what we found. Dallas Capital Bank has a single branch in Dallas County near the tollway and 635. From this location, Dallas Capital provides services to all of Denton County and half of Collin County, but covers virtually nothing in Dallas County below I-30. Dallas Capital Bank has declined to comment for this story. Benchmark Bank has 3 branches at Preston and Royal, Hillcrest and Lovers Lane, and McKinney Avenue, just 2 miles north of I-30. Benchmark drew a map that extends north into portions of Denton and Collin counties and picks up parts of Dallas's affluent Kessler Park and Bishop Arts neighborhoods in Oak Cliff, but little else below I-30. Benchmark says all areas conform to CRA regulatory requirements. There's also INTERBANK. Its 2 Dallas County branches are located at 75 and Mockingbird and the tollway at Lovers Lane. From these branches, INTERBANK drew a map that excludes virtually everything south of I-30. To the south of Dallas County, INTERBANK also has branches in Ellis County, and one of them is just 2 miles from the Dallas County line. INTERBANK serves all of Ellis County, Erath, Somerville, Hood, Parker, and Tarrant counties, but only half of Dallas County. INTERBANK declined multiple requests for comment, but in its most recent bank examination, regulators said no evidence of discrimination was identified.
Okay, so you've gotten a little bit of a taste there. David, is what we just saw there, is that the sort of things that Garland is focusing on now?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if those particular items will come up for an investigation, but yeah, that is what they're looking at right now. And in fact, today announced a prosecution and a settlement with one bank from the Memphis area, multi-million-dollar settlement for deliberately avoiding lending in Black and Hispanic neighborhoods. And there was a similar settlement in August with a bank called Cadence Bank in Houston for doing the same thing. The AG says that this is just the beginning of the prosecutions that they want to do.
And every time you do one of these, David, I ask you, like, is there more to come on this?
Yeah.
Do you still have threads that are coming off of this that you have to pull? And every time it just sounds like you've got a mountain of work ahead of you. And one of those is Sunday night.
Yeah, we got a story coming up on Sunday night. We looked at a mountain of data. All these stories are based on the data. So we looked at all the lending data in the city of Dallas for people who are white and Black and Hispanic to see how frequently people are denied for loans. I mean, probably no surprise to people who've been denied for loans, but the rates are so much higher for Blacks and Hispanics than they are for whites. And there aren't a lot of good reasons to just explain that away, and so we're going to get into that. That's a big part of this story is denial for a loan. Why did I get denied? And often it's because of the color of your skin.
All right, so that's Sunday night at 10 p.m. and a phenomenal job on this series. I know that Attorney General Garland did not mention this by name today, but I know that other federal officials have, so this has gotten notice all the way to D.C.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being back with us, David. We'll have to do it again.